And I think we're up. Looks that way. Alright, today's Tuesday. Feels later than that. Anyway, it's Tuesday, and yesterday we did one of the Bone Reapers and knocked him out pretty quick. He's really tiny. So, I talked with Sandy last night, who's the guy who got the other half of the box, Feast of Bones, back here, that just right here, that just came out, and he let me borrow one of his ogres, and I'm gonna paint that up today. So let's just jump right in. So, like I said, yesterday was the tiny little skeleton here. To give you an idea, we'll even put the base like next to it. The ogres are a little bit bigger, just a little bit. And you're like, well, that's not really fair. That skeleton's really small. Okay, well, how about a Stormcast? Even with his little plume, that Joker's as tall, if not taller. So, yeah, it's they're big models. They're big. They're beefy. They like to eat. I got to play them last night for the first time. Played against Sandy doing. I played a Slanesh list, and he played the ogres, and I'll just say that the ogres ate well. I ended up pulling it out, but that's only because I could resummon absolutely everything. Couple of little moves here or there, and yeah, that would have been a different game. Anyway, one of the things I heard is, oh, you're gonna do flesh and stuff like that. Well, all the stuff I've been doing on here has been trying to paint something quick, so I'm gonna try to come up with a quick little thing that you can do for these ogres, just to get them out. We're not looking for studio quality. We're looking for something that you can put on the table and work really fast, and that anybody can do. Not a whole lot of work to it. So we're going straight into the contrast. We're going to probably put a bunch of contrast on this guy, because the whole thing is we're going to try to get him done quick. So we're going to start off with Gilliman Flesh. Don't forget these it's a contrast paint, so you got to try to work fast a little bit. Get it in there so it gets the pool and does what you actually want the contrast paints to do. And also, when you put this on there, it's going to look real dark. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but it definitely looked really dark when I first put the bone on our skeleton over there. Matter of fact, I was a little nervous that I was going to have to like stop and start over all over again with a different plan, but stuck with it, waited it out, and the patience paid off because it dried up pretty good. These ogres, a lot of them have a lot of flesh showing, so a lot of folks get nervous. They're like, I don't like painting skin. Well, luckily GW is making it to where you don't have to paint as much skin. Well, I mean, you still got to paint the skin, but it's easier to with all this contrast. Just throw it in there, see what happens. Get back around his arm. This upper camera is like a really great shot of the top of my head, isn't it? So I've been thinking about trying to get something like a different camera to show a palette. With doing the contrast paints today, probably would be the most boring camera ever. But usually I'm doing something on the palette to where, you know, this camera doesn't quite catch it. Or maybe do a top-down video to where the camera that I'm actually painting on is just shooting down straight at the desk. Maybe that would be better. What do y'all think? Might keep me from rolling it off non-stop. So we're just going anywhere that there's skin. There's a lot to paint there too, sir. Trying to stay off of the other areas because I think what I'm gonna try to do is to do some more contrast there, so it's all like I said. So this would be like a quick run. Ooh, let's see right there on the back side of that. That'd have been bad. Oh, and don't forget his ear. Sticking out like a taxi cab door. There we go. Got his ear there. We're going to go back over here. I'm trying to get underneath his beard's a little tricky, but not a problem. Just be patient and sneak the brush back in there. And all this is the Gilliman flesh contrast. Not cutting it, not doing anything, just putting it straight on there. It's another one of those contrast paints that I hadn't tried before this. I believe there's a debate on nomenclature going on in the chat. I'm not sure what the rules are for me talking about it on the stream with Facebook, so we're just not gonna touch that one. Yep, I was sticking my tongue out again. Alright, so we're about 10 minutes in, and I probably talked for a couple of minutes before that. And we've got at least a decent patch going. Now, like, some of these... shoot. We're going to put that back, because it's better than the washed out spot that I just put on there. Now he looks like... yeah. Anyway. I was going to try to pull some of those, but they've already started to dry. So, yeah. I'm just going to leave that spot on there. Just painting one ogre. Sandy let me get hold of this one. So we're going to give him a little paint, see what we can do on a stream really, really fast. Alright. Now there's a lot of leather on here, so we're going to switch over to snakebite leather. It's another one of the contrast paints. Quick, fast, and easy. You can get it on there. There it is. It is one that I've used before, and it actually, for leather, I really like it. It turns out really well. And it also, you can do it, you can use this to do a couple other tricks too. So he's got the handle on his little knife right there. One enlightened. Maybe. I can see it now, like every box set that comes out. Hey, can I borrow one of those and paint it? That would, yeah. Yep, hold on a second. And we're back. So the disadvantage of using your cell phone as a camera is if someone calls the cell phone, it knocks the picture off of your camera. So I'm not too worried about the stone here getting some of this leather over onto it. There's not a gray that I know of that I'd use for stone in the contrast, so we'll have to use some standard. So So we'll go back over that and clean that up around the edges of that leather. Do 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 do. All right. Just trying to get back there and not really hit too much because I don't want to have to clean up absolutely everything, but hey, I'm working. Just, you know. Yeah. Alright, some more leather on the strap over here on this knife. We're just gonna paint a happy little fat man. Remember, there are no mistakes when you go to paint knives, just happy little accents. Too much? It felt like too much. Like I said, this is one of the contrasts that I've used before, the snakebite leather. I really like it. It turns out really well. Yep. There we go. Let's see, there's wraps on that one. Yep. Yeah, there is too. The reason I did the straps on the stone first is because it is the contrast and it does run a little bit. So like on these straps, if you look, it's sort of bled over to the other little bits around it, and if I go back with the gray, I can clean that up a little bit. That's the only reason that I did I try to do the contrast first, because it does get a little runny sometimes. I mean, you can be like really careful, but it just I don't know. I think it's easier that way. Man, they did not leave you a lot of room between his arm and his belly there. run a little bit of that top. There we go. So I'm gonna do something here for his pants. That I did. I did it on the Baron Zemo, but I did that off screen, I think, and I don't think it actually showed how I did this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a real thin coat of the snakebite leather on his pants. I say real thin and it goops on. But I'm going to thin this out and run it down to the top of his boots here, because I forgot that they were boots. I was just shooting that stuff everywhere. I don't want a lot of the contrast to pool, because I'm going to do another coat on top of this and change the color. But I want that brown from the leather to be in that other layer and peek through a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to give him any tats. Well, it's Sandy's model, so maybe we'll let Sandy pick. Just trying to get a little bit around here. Make sure I don't have any of those spots that just are glaring through. Like I said, I'm not too worried about it pooling or anything like that, because we are going to go back over this. Just be careful with your slap some blood on him. Okay, we can do that. All right. Don't know why I'm being so careful right there. I'm going to do brown on the belt. One of those things that just suddenly it clicked. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this the hard way? Because you didn't think it through. That's why. We're going to have brown leather on the belt, but we're going to do another little shade around the rest of it. So like I said, on the pants, I'm not really concerned that it gets a whole lot of pooling, so I'm trying to just clear off a little bit of this so it'll dry a little bit faster. And yes, contrast paint tastes horrible, even when you rinse it off. Ugh. Horrible. All right. So what I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna switch over to Wildwood real quick. Just another contrast paint. This is really, so I've used Wildwood before. I used it for bark on Sylvaneth, and uh-oh. What happened? Alright, did that just show the key for y'all? Okay. Looks like I'll have to change the key on my live stream stuff. At least popped up on my end. I don't know if it just went black on y'all's or what happened. It's like I lost connection for a second. Okay, well, never mind. So on my screen, the one I've got like a I've got preview screen over here showing what's going out, but I'm actually able to see the chat and all that stuff on the actual stream key, which is about 20 seconds behind everything. That's why it takes me a while to respond to anything. Huh. That was weird. But the little blue screen that comes up when I'm logging in and trying to get the show to go live and all that stuff popped up on my end for a brief second there. It showed the stream key, which is basically all you need to be able to stream. Ah, dadgummit, I'm way off the screen, sorry. But yeah, that's all you need to stream these videos. And that's how you connect in. So I didn't know if, like I said, it showed on mine, but apparently not on y'all's. So there's that. Yep, we're gonna go with wood handles on this. With this being right up next to the other, I'm just trying to be careful so I don't go back and hit what I've already covered up. Look around. don't think there's anything else on there. Alright. So we're going to switch over to, there's a couple of skulls on there. So we're going to get those skulls real quick. We're going to go back to Skeleton Horde. Just give these skulls that he's braided into his hair, or into his beard. Give those a little bit of color. You don't have to reprime the areas. They've actually got a couple of the, they've got little pots of the same color. Where'd they go? Okay. So they actually make little pots, like there's one for Gray Seer, and there's one for Wraithbone, which are the two contrast, the two contrast primers that they sell. I found that those primers work great, but like Vallejo Gray works just, I mean, I can't tell the difference on how contrast does it. I just airbrush that stuff on. In that case, you just go back and you either hit a little bit of white or gray or whatever color you were working in, and just touch it up, clean it up a little bit. If it's just a smudge, it's way back in the back, I don't even worry about it. Because really you're going to get two colors sort of melding together, and it's going to make a muddy brown shade back there. It's fine. So we're about 30 minutes in, and he's coming along pretty darn quick. I think we've got 3 colors on him so far. So I'm gonna do, we're gonna give him some black boots. Like I said, I'm not trying to do like a studio quality or even like, you know, high tabletop or anything like this. This is just, I wanted to do something really quick that you could get, you know, you've got what, 20, how many guys are in that army that you played last night, Sandy? There's what, 30, 40 guys? Anyway, this is something that, you know, you could do fairly simple. I mean, it's not going to be like, you know, I can get this done in 20 minutes. It's not going to happen. You could, but yeah. Let's just not think about what that would look like. This, I forgot to tell y'all what I was using. This is just Black Templar going on here. I'm just going through and hitting the bottom, or yeah, hitting his boots where I think it would be black leather. But basically I just wanted to do something, you know, like say you needed to do an entire ogre army before November 16th. You know, random dates. You could do it. It's going to take a little time. Maybe a little bit of your sanity. But you could do it. Alright. So remember how earlier I said that his pants and everything, I wanted to do something a little different for those because I got a lot of leather on the back side of him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little black Templar, just a little dab on the brush, try to clean off a bunch of it. And right up here where his pants are, I'm going to go back over with black Templar. And I'm going to give it just a little bit more. And I'm not really trying to cover up the leather. I want the leather still to peek through. What I'm looking for is to make it look like maybe he tried to dye the pants. You know, we had tanned leather. He tried to make them black, but he's worn them so long that the brown is starting to peek back through, sort of like like if you've ever had like a black leather baseball mitt, you have it for a while, and some of the creases and stuff, that brown will start to show back through. Here's the tricky bit. How to get... got it. So I'm trying to get the brush to reach up there and get along that belt without smacking the knuckles on the back side. So what I did was I sort of put the brush against there and pressed down, put a little bit of pressure where it was bending the bristles just a little bit, and then just sort of pushed up the miniature until I got to where I could see that they were up where I was wanting that color to go, and I just sort of pushed it along. Probably not the best thing ever for your brush, but I think if you don't do it too often, then, you know, I wouldn't suggest doing that with a good brush and doing that as like a go-to technique, but it worked. Yeah, I hadn't tried to do grots. I can't imagine trying to do 120 of those jokers with 3 color, you know, you do the base coat of the color, and then you do the highlight of the color, and I can imagine that would be a nightmare. Alright. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of the black and go up here along his beard. I'm going to come back to this here in a bit. I know that it's going to go a little bit gray, but I want probably a little more gray than it's going to provide. So I'm just going to go through here and get this beard at least started to get colored up. Little tufts down there. You know, he decided to braid through the skulls. You know, because like you do. And just going back and touching a couple of spots where it was already showing that the... So one of the things about the contrast paints is that they'll sort of bubble. So you go through there and you think you got it coated. You look back and there'll be these little spots poking through where the primer's still showing. And I think it's just the way that it's built. I don't think there's really anything you can do about it. The surface tension sort of pops and voila, it doesn't get covered. So you just got to sort of watch it. Like I said, if you just keep your eyes open, go back around, you can catch it pretty well. Because nothing on here stands out. That might work. Sandy said he's going to take a bunch of the dark browns and just dip all those Skaven into them. 240 plus models. Yep. Normally I would be, no, take your time. No. 240 models, go for it, dude. Alright, so we've gone through a bunch of contrast paint. He's already starting to look like something there, at least. And so let's go here and do that stone real quick. Where are we at? The 43-minute mark? Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of metallic on this. I'm going to go with boiler black on that trap of his. It's a really dark metal. Basically what I want to do is I want to get this on here real fast, and I want to, because Sandy asked for some blood on him, and what I'll do is I'll use some blood for the blood god around on this trap if I can get it to dry before the hour runs out. Like I said, this is a really dark metallic. I mean, it's got some silver into it, but it's really, I mean, don't call it boiler black for nothing. that? If you notice, I switched paint brushes. I've actually got, these are brushes that I got from Gigabytes over there on the wall. They come in a 3-pack. They're not too expensive. I can't remember, maybe $6-8, I think. I don't know. I don't remember what they were, but they're not like, they're not top of the line brushes, but they are good brushes. And I have had problems in the past with brushes not wanting to work with metallics. So I started fishing around. I kept trying different brushes and all that fun stuff until I found these brushes. And I find that the metallics do pretty well with them. And the reason I don't use my good brushes for the metallics is the little metal flakes that are actually in the paint will eat the crap out of brushes. It's just a matter of time. It'll destroy a brush. So I get these brushes and I paint my metallics. And whenever a brush has given up the ghost and just will not work as a brush for, you know, any kind of precision or anything like that, then I don't feel bad about letting that one go and going on to the next one. I can't imagine trying to, as quick as metallics eat regular brushes, I can't imagine trying, you know, you get a Winsor & Newton or, you know, some kind of real hair brush. I'd cry. Come down around the bottom, do the little push plate, get right there under his fingers. Try not to get his fingers because, you know, fingers don't look good in silver. Or metallic. Thanks, Sandy. I didn't realize the address was on there and that you could see it. Damn. Okay. We'll just clean our brush off right there. Alright. Yeah, I just didn't realize that it was like actually legible. I probably need to like go through and see if I can, maybe if I run the pill bottles through the dishwasher or something, they would I could just soak them overnight in like the what I use for paint stripper. Maybe it'll take all the stuff off. I was thinking about maybe spray painting them, but then the spray paint tends to add like a texture to it and maybe get a little sticky sometimes. And as I'm like constantly handling these things, not the best. So, rotating around, and the camera caught it about the same time I did. Rotated him. Actually, I saw it on the camera when I was looked over, where that white still is. So, probably after the stream, I'll go back and touch that up. Use a little bit of that gray to, or the black to go back and pick out the bottom of his beard. Didn't realize I'd left that. I guess because I finished on this side. So yeah, that metallic goes really dark. Get in here, and then probably what I'll do is I'll do all this in the metallic and then come back with a brighter one. And give it some highlights across that metallic. Go into like a cold steel, not too bright a silver, but enough to where it looks like, you know, he's been wearing this around and stuff's been clanging off of it. I'm just trying to give that metallic up there on the claw and stuff a minute to dry a little bit. Sandy was asking me yesterday, and I'm off this, was asking me yesterday about how to do some blood. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some around that trap here in a second, if I can get it to dry before the end of the stream. Oops. That. Give it. These little armor plates here on his wrist. We'll give those a quick shot. There's that, there's that, there's that. Those spots that you just sort of miss when you go through and do it. And you rotate the model around it, and there's this glaring white primer spot. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you go with a normal eye patch? Why would you nail a piece of metal to the side of your head to cover up your damaged eye? I'm not sure on that. Just being real careful not to come back over onto where we've done the skin already. Just sort of pushing it around. And I realize that there's one more spot of skin right here that apparently when I was painting it, I thought it was part of this eye patch thing. But yeah, now you can really see that spot that I missed there. Alright. We're at 56 minutes. And I think we got enough. There she is. I think I got enough on... Let's see. Yeah, we got it. Alright. So, technical paint. Blood for the Blood God. If you've never seen this stuff, it's quite different than the other technical paints and everything. It is glossed immediately. It's blood. You just put a little bit on there to start with, because it's it'll run a little bit if you get a little crazy with it. Now I'm just figuring that there's no clean way to carry this. So I'm going to give him some blood up there into his fingernails. Just back along the teeth of this thing. Yep. Yep, it's it's on pretty thick. I mean, I don't know if you can see on that brush how much is on there. It's on there, and it's not quite like standard paint. It's got a more gel consistency to it. But if you just take it, okay, so if you just take it and lightly brush it, you get that red, almost like a wash or a glaze over whatever color you're working at. But if you sort of glob it onto the thing, it sticks pretty good. Like I just sort of, on that little pressure plate that's in the middle, I just sort of globbed a bit on there and let gravity do its thing. Some of the other parts where I just sort of ran it back randomly. No real rhyme or reason to it. Just so yeah, it sort of looks like he caught somebody in the thing. I mean, you could go all over the thing, like, so you can see that there's a little bit. There we go. Globs on there. Sometimes it will dry a little bit, and it won't look quite as blood. And usually that's on like the thinner areas. If you want that like wet blood look, if you just go back and touch it just a little bit with some of the paint again, it'll get that shiny look. So 40 hours and you can have a painted army. Pretty close. Pretty close. Just take a week off work, man. It'll be fine. Well, we're at the hour mark, so I will finish him up, and as usual, he will end up, a copy of this will end up on YouTube, and a copy, and I'll post the pictures on Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Thanks again to Sandy for letting me snag this guy. Like I said, it was his half of the Feast of Bones box back here that that it came out of. So yeah, I'm sure that like it took me about an hour, and he's almost done. After the first one that you did of these, that process would probably speed up significantly. You'd start, if you got like 7 guys, you wouldn't have to wait. You wouldn't have to wait to go back and forth. The only thing that I'm really going to do with him is I'm going to, like across his face, I'll take a little bit of the different flesh tones and stuff like that. Maybe do a couple highlights across his face. If you can get the head, the face, and the shoulders to look better, if you're going to spend time on a model, spend it in that, because for some reason the eyes pick that up really well. Yeah, you could do assembly line, and that would probably speed this up a whole lot. But thanks again, Sandy, for letting me borrow it. It's out of Feast of Bones. The Mawtribe Ogres and the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, both in the box. Swing by Gigabytes. They got copies of it up there. It's good stuff. I'll be back tomorrow. Don't know what I'm going to be painting. Probably going to be Sylvaneth or Slanesh, because I got to get those done before the 16th. But go out, have some fun, try some new things, and go paint something. Have a good one.